And so it's just, the connection of people and how you bring groups of people together to start thinking about how can we impact other people's lives by sharing our message and the success that we've attained and reached. Because really there's so many millions of people out there that need help, that need guidance. They just don't know where to go to get us. Because they want to know that you're not a taker. And there's so many takers in life. I want to be a value add. I want to be able to bring value to the people that I'm trying to touch and deliver. Because when you do that, man, the world's your oyster, as you know. People then start seeking you out because they know you're real and that you're leading with your beliefs and that you're convicted about what it is you're doing.
Guys, today we are live with the one and only Brad Blazer. Brad, I thank you so much for making the time.
It's great to be here with you, man.
To come and, just share what you have created, what you are creating, all the things that you're doing. Let's start with the art of beliefology, right?
Sure.
Tell me, it's trademarked, right? It's trademarked, it belongs to you. What does it mean?
The art of beliefology is really a concept. It's a philosophy that if you change your beliefs, you can dramatically change your future. That's something that I believe. I've seen it in myself. I've obviously seen it in some of the people we work with in our coaching programs. And when I sat down and I wrote my book, I kind of had this idea in my head. That's really the message of the whole book if you read it, On the Wings of Eagles. And so I wanted to come up with an idea, and I said to myself, the art of beliefology. And then I said, I want to take that one step further. I want that to be trademarked as a phrase that nobody else can use. And one of the things that we're actually going to be working on this year is figuring out a way to actually license that and actually make that available to other coaches.
Oh, nice. Excuse the plane. We are live. This is what's going to happen, right?
That's part of
but so the thing that that I didn't want to do, I didn't want to start the show like everybody else and say like you're an entrepreneur and you're this and you're that. I'd rather just talk of your successes through it, right? And with you, you have the art of beliefology right now, but that wasn't what made you successful.
Correct.
That wasn't like your start. Like, at the age of 23, right? You started in the oil industry and you went high. Right?
Correct.
And the thing is that a lot of people would consider that success, but I feel that because you created the art of beliefology, you had a certain belief during that time that was limiting, right? What would you say that belief was that held you back?
You back in those days?
In those days.
Really, I think a lot of it was just fear. It's, not really knowing what to do or even how to start a business. I was 23 years old. I was going to school at the time, studying architecture. I wanted to use my architectural skills really to go into real estate development. And, I got sidetracked. I ended up working in the oil and gas company for a couple people that kind of taught me the business, taught me how to raise money, taught me how to get on the telephone. And I had a group of investors that believed in me. And it was just kind of that aha moment, that revelation that I said to myself, I may never have the chance to be a businessman and an entrepreneur ever again. And so I just kind of took the plunge, jumped in, figured things out along that journey that a lot of entrepreneurs get into, and that is, you start your business really not knowing what the outcome is going to be or what it looks like. And then you just kind of surround yourself with a team of people. But I think that now that I'm at a point in my coaching where I've talked to a lot of other big-time coaches and I've coached other people, the big thing I think that most people are really scared of, Ruben, is it's not that they're scared of starting a business, or it's not that they're scared of moving forward. It's that they're scared of the judgment of other people. That's really the biggest fear,
Absolutely.
What are my parents going to think if I end up a failure? What are my friends going to think if I try this and it doesn't work? And we're so judgmental, unfortunately, in our society today that people, I think, are really held back from just moving forward and taking progress. Because really, at the end of the day, the most important person to you is you.
So what's the secret that, like, because obviously every person is different and you're coaching a lot of different people right now, right? But what's the secret behind just becoming a beast, right? The other thing that you're known
Sure.
for is the build a beast. You train people to really get out of their shell and become that beast that they were, right? What's the secret behind that? You don't give it all away, but
The secret to really being a beast and seeing a brighter future, and then having the desire, and really more importantly, the habits that back that desire, is big time people don't listen to their feelings. They know what they need to do. They show up every day. They're professional about it, and they block out the noise.
yeah,
That's what big time people do. Because if you start worrying about the news, oh shit, the stock market's falling, oh my God, the 401k is contracting, we tend to go into a place of comfort. We contract as people.
yeah,
We crawl under a rug. Oh, I feel like Chicken Little, shit, the sky's falling. Big time people, man, they don't listen to the bullshit. They don't listen to their feelings. They don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
You know, they just show up because they know they've got this goal. They know that that's their dream, and they're going to go relentlessly pursuing that
yeah,
regardless.
yeah,
You know, and what I have found is that when you get started on that journey, you're going to have a lot of naysayers. You're going to have a lot of haters, and you and I have joked, the more haters you have, the better job you're doing.
exactly,
Because they're projecting their failures onto you.
Absolutely.
It builds them up. It makes them feel good.
yeah,
But once you get to a point where they're like, holy shit, you know, the dude's driving a Ferrari, or the dude just moved into a new home, or the dude's traveling to all these nice places,
Yes.
they start becoming your admirers.
yes, secret,
You
and
know,
then all of a
you're
sudden it starts coming out. Yeah, we were just talking about.
And then they
it.
reach out to you when they need you the most, right?
Yeah, can I get a job?
Can I get a job, or
Yeah,
can I be
be part of
coached
the
by
team?
you?
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, what you're doing is you figured something out that I don't know yet. And so it's kind of that journey that I joke about becoming an entrepreneur is really a very lonely journey at
Yes.
first, because you're grinding, you're putting in the hours, you're not seeing the results.
Yeah,
And then you get to a point where you kind of turn that corner. It's almost like pulling back on the joystick on an airplane. You're like, man, it's working. You know, and then it gets to a point where it starts snowballing on itself.
yeah,
And then you get to a point where you're like, holy crap, I can't back off the pedal because this thing's now in motion.
absolutely. Yeah.
And it's taken off, and I've given it breath, and I'm getting clients, and you know,
There's too many people that are supporting you now for you to stop.
there you
Like,
go.
You can't at that point.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it to where it's like you have all these people that are depending on you. Maybe not even so much like for financial stuff, but just depending on you to be Brad.
Well, that's it.
And it's like, well, I have to give the people what they want. You know, I have
yeah,
to give them what
it's
they're asking for.
now my coaching clients are holding me accountable to deliver the content, deliver the message, to work with them.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I got to show up every day. I got to be there in the present. I got to do the accountability calls. I got to do the Tuesday and Thursday rhythms. I got to do the one-to-one coaches. I got to be doing the masterminds.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people now that are part of that tribe and that community,
Yeah.
that if I don't, they're like, well, shit, why did I hire you as my coach for?
Yeah,
And I don't want to be that
absolutely.
person. You know, I want to be the person that delivers. I want to be the guy that says, hey, here's our promise, here's our commitment to you,
Yeah.
and here are the things that we're going to do to bring about that change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's it's just one of those things that it's like really when you start that journey, like you can tell who's making it and who isn't,
Yeah.
and who's doing it for the right reasons too. If you're doing it for the selfish reasons, all you post about, all you ask for is money and attention.
Correct.
But when you do it for the right reasons, you're doing for help.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. And that's something that I've seen with you, right? Like your coaching plans are not focused on, you know, if you give me this amount of money, then I can do this, right?
Right.
It's you're gonna learn to become a beast, right? And that's what matters to me. Like the money and everything, like we can figure out, you know, like whatever, you can figure it out with me later. We'll figure it out. We'll get it right.
Yep.
But it's about becoming a beast.
Well, I mean, it's exactly, you know, it's one thing I learned from some of the people I've interviewed on our podcast, Beast Nation, like Larry K. Benet. He's considered one of the most connected people on the planet. You know, of course, Roland Frazier. And what I've learned is that when you're looking at big time people, like for example, I interviewed, you know, as you know, Matt Knowles, you know, his daughter's worth $1 billion, Beyonce, you know, married to Jay-Z.
Yeah. That was Matthew Knowles' people. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like that's Beyonce's father. Like you're skipping pretty fast, but I mean that's
But, you know,
huge. You know?
But when you develop a relationship with someone like that, and we're having dinner later this month, is you want to lead with value first. You know,
Yeah.
you want to find out what are they interested in. And I know he's interested in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I know he's got another program he's doing called the Salvation Organization. It's, you know, Matt, I know that you're very involved in Make-A-Wish. What can I do to help support that for you? Can I buy a table at the next event? Can I come in and go to the hospital with some of the kids and, you know, help those wishes?
Yeah.
Because they want to know that you're not a taker. And there's so many takers in life. I want to be a value add. I want to be
Yes.
able to bring value to the people that I'm trying to touch and deliver.
Yes.
Because when you do that, man, the world's your oyster, as you know, people then start seeking you out because they know you're real and that you're leading with your beliefs and that you're convicted about what it is you're doing.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we were touching up on not too long ago between all of us, is that we were talking about how much push versus pull are you doing, right? And if you're constantly pushing people towards you, right, like you're having to literally go, look, come here,
right.
come, no, you too, tell your friends, everyone, right? And it's like, can you instead become a person that's magnetic electric, right?
Exactly.
To where people are coming to you.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is like, when you're talking about Matthew and the people and about giving value, you're not saying, oh, well come here, like look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm doing. It's just all focused
Correct.
on him. And a lot of the times, I mean, I'm sure that you weren't even doing it to try to get anything in return. It was just that you think he's an interesting person. Like,
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And out of that, a friendship is developing, and I'm connecting him to other people, of course, in my community, Coach Michael Bird.
Yes.
And, eventually he might get introduced to people like Tim Story. I know another guy, of course, that I've interviewed, which is Antonio Smith Jr. Antonio's a mover shaker. He's a disciple of Les Brown.
Really?
And he's a guy that was living in dumpsters in his childhood as a orphan youth. That's now, worth 30 or 40 million dollars.
Yeah.
And so it's just, the connection of people and how you bring groups of people together to start thinking about how can we impact other people's lives by sharing our message and the success that we've attained and reached. Because really, there's so many millions of people out there that need help, that need guidance. They just don't know where to go to get. I was talking to this guy today that just enrolled in our program. And, he's basically an immigrant. He came over with his parents. And, they live in Iowa. They've been working the same job for 20 years in a meat processing plant.
Yeah.
Tough life, and they have nothing to show after 20 years, exchanging their time, exchanging their weeks.
Yes.
And he's a police officer. And he's like, I want more, I want wealth. I want to help impact my parents so that they can have a retirement and live the life that they dreamt about coming to the United States of America.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm not going to do that on a policeman's salary.
Absolutely.
How do I do that?
That's the tough part of it too, right? In any industry, there's going to be the fake coaches, the fake marketers, the fake podcasters, right? And it ruins it for everyone. And when you hear a success story of someone like him who really needs it, and they find the right person such as yourself, like, that makes so many people happy because they didn't have to get burned first in order to get to success.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your term, like, not your term, but what is your definition of success? I like asking this question because it's so different for everyone, right? But for you, how do you define success?
It's a great question. Success is different for everybody. And one of the things I tell my coaching clients is, don't be jealous of other people. I look at someone that's driving down the street in a Ferrari, or I look at the guy that's living in the, $1 million home, and mine's not as nice. But what you have to realize is that person can be looking back at you with jealousy because maybe they're in a crappy marriage and they're like, man, Brad's got it all together. He is so in love with his wife. They've got such a great marriage. And so when you start thinking like that, realizing that the person you're envious could be envious of you, but for different reasons, you're like, what the hell am I jealous of, right? Because success is defined differently by everybody. For some people, of course, it's the monetary wealth. I want to have money and I want to live in a big house. For others, I just want to be happy.
Yeah, 1 million or 2 million.
Yeah, and so really, I met Rock Thomas, who has a word and a phrase that I just love, and I've used it, so I have to give Rock Thomas credit. And that is, he says, become a fulfillionaire. Lead a life that is fulfilling, where you have the success financially, but you're also able to do good with that success by helping other people. But more importantly, you're leading a balanced life where you're focusing on your fitness, you're focusing on your health, you're focusing on your relationships. And Coach Michael Burt, who of course was studying Covey, talks about the fact that Covey says we as humans are made up of 4 things: a mind, a body, a spirit, and a soul. And each one represents something different. It's our passion, it's our desire, it's our level of fitness. And so my thought about what is really success, it's getting to a point in your life where you can just go through your day with a smile on your face and say, man, I'm living the life of a fulfillionaire. I'm making money, I've got great relationships, I'm fit, I'm healthy. Because, if you're wealthy and you got a crappy marriage, or you're about to put one foot in the grave because you're not taking care of yourself physically, you don't have what I call the definition of success. It's kind of like the movie Jerry Maguire, right?
Yeah.
Raj wanted the Quan. That was his magic word for Jerry. Just find me the Quan.
Yeah.
That was for him the definition of what it meant to be a fulfillionaire.
Yes. So it's different for everyone, but it sounds like to me you want it all.
I want it all, man. Of course, I want to go from being a baby star to a big star. I want to be known in our industry. I want to be getting on bigger stages. But at the end of the day, for me, that's not necessarily success. I want to have a great relationship with my wife and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have great relationships with the people that I put into our tribe and that are part of our mastermind group. And so really for me, it's kind of that fulfillionaire, but it might be a bigger, quote, fulfillionaire definition than the next guy that hasn't quite gotten there yet.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have another book that's about to be released, right? Tell me about that. What's it called? What's it about?
Yeah, it's called Put a Thrive in Your Hive. Basically, how to unleash potential in any organization. I was recently called in to PCL Industrial, which is like the 6th or 7th largest construction contractor in the, well, I think maybe in the world.
Yeah.
You know, they got revenues of $6 or $7 billion, big ass company.
Wow.
And so I was called in basically to train their leaders and managers how to inspire and how to motivate and lead their employees. And one thing I realized as I was doing my research and as I was in there was there's a big disconnect between what employees want and what employers think they want. And what employers traditionally think their employees want is bonuses, more money, which is good. Don't get me wrong, I like more money too. But in reality, when they surveyed employees, really what employees wanted was nothing more than a pat on the back. Praise. Hey, Ruben, you're doing a great job. And really also to be praised and loved on amongst their peers so that when they're together as a group or when they're at a company-wide meeting, that person is praised and he gets the recognition, because so many companies and organizations don't do that.
Yeah.
And so really this book is designed for leaders, managers, entrepreneurs, anybody that has an organization where really all they're looking to do is just inspire and motivate their people and do a better job at it.
Wow. So that's the reason why people should buy it right there.
There you go.
Yeah, that was my next question.
If you're a leader, a manager, an employer, an entrepreneur, you got to go out and buy a Thrive, put some Thrive in your hive.
When does that come out?
It'll be out probably in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. And then how do they find it?
They get it on Amazon. It's going to be on Amazon. They can go to our website, of course, bradblazer.com. It'll be available there. If you're interested, you can go to the website now and just, put in the notes section where it has the contact us. Put me down for a copy of the book. We'll mail it out. It'll be signed copy. But really, it's just, I think it's going to be a great book.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully open the doors for us as coaches and trainers to go into bigger organizations and provide that level of training, because so many people are out there that really just need a little bit of praise, need a little bit of love. And I think if corporations embrace that and do a better job of it, they'll find that the culture of the organization changes.
Yes.
Because I believe that in any organization there are 3 things that take place. Okay, let's face it, you can hire almost anybody. Right? Put an ad in the newspaper. There's so many people looking for jobs. It's easy to recruit and hire. The challenge is the middle. It's developing, and I call it RDR: recruit, develop, retain. People don't leave good companies; they leave bad managers.
Yes.
And really, managers don't take the time to get to know other people.
Yes.
They don't sit down and find out, Ruben, what are your goals? How can I help you reach those goals in our company?
Yes.
And if they do those simple things, as simple as they are, they'll retain people and they'll be able to build a wonderful organization.
Yeah. We were discussing just that whenever there's a mistake, people try to blame, like, was it the manager?
Yeah.
Was it the person who was in charge of the graphic design? Was it the salesperson? Like, whose fault was it, right? And when you really look at the fault, it stems from one person and they're all the way at the top. Because if they really cared, they would have caught it, right?
Exactly.
And that's such a true statement that, like, if your employees are leaving, whose fault is it? It goes all the way back up, right?
Exactly.
And even if the managers aren't asking, does the CEO even care?
Yeah.
Does the owner even care, right? And then are they just looking at profits and dollars and losses? And it's really sad to say, but with proper training, with people like you going in there and really just educating those who don't, I mean, it's 70s mentality, right? You come in, I give you a paycheck, you leave, I come in, I give you a paycheck. There's this steady flow of money coming to you. You should be happy, right?
Correct.
And it's so unevolved, right?
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, it gets back to the thing about, you know, people might forget your name, they might forget what you do for a living, but they'll never forget the way you make them feel.
Yes.
And as a CEO of an organization, you should treat everybody in the organization, even the janitor that comes and cleans your offices after hours, as if he was the CEO of his own company, because essentially he is. He takes pride in what he does. I mean, I remember, God, years ago I was at an airport and I was getting my shoes shined. Something as simple as getting my shoes shined. And this guy, man, he was singing, he was dancing all over the place. I mean, he loved what he did. He was passionate about shining shoes. And this guy was like in his 70s. And I just said, how long have you been shining shoes? He's like, oh man, most of my life. And I said, well, you're your 70s, you should be retired. He said, oh no, man, I'm trying to help my grandson, put him through college. He wants to be a doctor, and I'm helping him. And so some of the money he's making, he's giving to his grandson to help pay for that education. And I said, man, what a great thing is this guy. And I praised him. I gave him a nice big tip. And I said, this isn't for you. This goes into your grandson's little kitty. And he hugged me because it was, you know, $50 tip on a $7 shoe shine. But, you know, I was praising him because I loved the fact that he was just so immersed in doing the best job every day.
So electric. Like the word that I really want to focus on this year is just become electric, radiate energy. You know, like when you have that person, I remember the same thing. We had a server, right? Within the first 5 seconds, I was like, she's getting a big tip. She won me over already. You know, like it's done, right? Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna be a jerk, and then I'm gonna feel horrible about it, right? The only type of people that really get ahead in this life very quickly are the people that are self-centered, right? And those are the ones that actually don't tip. But other than that, like, you're gonna win over a lot of people.
You're gonna win over enthusiasm, excitement, and being passionate about what you're doing and having the conviction.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, I tell people, if you're not passionate and convicted and you're just showing up to collect a paycheck, you got to really look at yourself introvertedly and say, what the hell am I doing here? I hate my life. I'm on a treadmill every week doing the same thing, punching the clock, collecting a paycheck, and I'm miserable. Well, that should be telling you something. Either get a new job or get a side hustle. And hopefully, if you work a little bit on the side hustle, you'll get to a point where you can fire your boss, and boom, before you know it, you're doing something that you're passionate about, and then it blossoms and it takes off. It just.
So for the young people, the people that are listening right now that want to do more, they're tired of their job, they're sick of going in there and running the same treadmill day after day, you know, just getting a paycheck. How do you find what's right for you?
You know, that's a tough one, and it's really funny, but it's a great question. I was watching Stephen Harvey a couple of weeks ago, and he was on his big stage and the big audience. And his message was, God put a gift in every one of you. It's what he calls, you're something special. Some people will never find it, and that's a shame. Some people will find it, and if they nurture it and develop it, man, the world becomes their oyster. You know, examples, Beyonce, she found her something special. She's one of the greatest singers. She's got a gift like an angel where she can get up there and dance and entertain. You look at people like Yitzhak Perlman. His gift is he's the best violinist out there, you know. And so you look at yourself introvertly. And, you know, when I came out of the oil and gas business and went back to school and then was looking for work, people wouldn't pay me what I was accustomed to making when I was in business for myself. It was frustrating. And I finally just said, what in the hell is Brad Blazer really gifted at? What is the one skill that I have that I can do that people will be willing to pay me a lot of money for? And when I realized, it was raising capital. It was going to investors. It was having the ability to communicate. And over my career, I've raised $2 billion, and I made a great life doing it. So I think for young people, it's really looking at yourself introvertly and saying, what am I really great at? What can I do? Maybe you're great at drawing. Maybe being an artist is in your future. Maybe you're a great videographer or a great photographer. But if you can find those skills and nurture them and get really good, you can then sell that to the world and get on a stage and use that as your showcase. I think so many people haven't figured out what they're really good at. You know, they go to school, they study something because their parents told them to go off to college. And for a lot of kids, college ain't the right place to be. You know, I'm not saying that you rebel, but for so many students, when you come out of high school, take a year or 2 years off to travel, see the world. My nephew did that, because what you do is you mature as a person, and you start to ask yourself, what do I really want to do with my future? Maybe I don't need school. Maybe I just want to be an entrepreneur. And there are very successful entrepreneurs that don't have a college background. Because college is great, because really what it teaches you is how to communicate and build relationships. And it does teach you practical skills. But let's face it, you know, studying a parabola or algebra ain't going to help you in the real world going out and making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
What you
It's
really
nice
need
to
to do
It's nice to have someone who's
is-
been in college that can actually talk
yeah,
about
but I mean,
it, you know?
what you really need to figure out is, what do you really want to do? How do you want to spend your life? How do you want to have a positive impact on people?
I have one final question for you. I'm going to put you
Yeah.
on the spot with this one, right? Take your time to think about it if you need to. If someone handed you $5 billion right now, what would you do with that money?
$5 billion?
Billion.
I'd do the same thing that Brad Lee would do, and that would, I'd bring groups of people together, and I'd give everybody in the audience $100,000. Brad Lee's goal is to become a billionaire, not because he wants the material
Yeah.
wealth, because he wants to impact the world and leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And so many people get up there on stage and rah, 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 motivate you, but as we know, the second you walk out of that auditorium, the motivation dissipates,
Yeah.
it wanes, and then you're back to your shitty life.
Yeah.
But if you're able to have $5 billion and redistribute that wealth, but more importantly, not just say, hey, here's 100,000, Ruben, it's here's some money, let me show you how to invest that in real estate or something worthwhile, to take that and then turn it into $500,000 or into $1 million,
Yeah.
and really educate people, but do it by redistributing that wealth.
Yeah.
That's what I would love to do. So I'd love to impact people's lives
Yeah.
by really just redistributing that wealth
Yeah.
to bring about positive change.
Grabbing that money, giving it to someone, but then once you give it to them, using what is your gift
Absolutely.
so that they're not just
Yeah, they don't go out and they don't buy a Ferrari and boom, you know, they're poor as shit and they're driving a nice car.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen too much of that living in Detroit with the drug dealers. They put on the flash, but they live in a crappy place,
Yeah.
you know, and they have a crappy life. But man, I'm driving my Benz because I got to look good in the hood, right?
Yeah.
No, I want to impact. If I can give people money and say, let's sit down now and figure out how to invest that, how to
Yeah.
buy some real estate, and really how to change your life.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I do my podcast, I tell people, man, I am the Robin Hood of information. I take information from people I interview and I share it with people that need it.
Yeah.
I like to be able to do something with the money, is take that money and then give it to people and show them how to invest it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're right at the end where we're getting close to
Yeah.
it. Any final thoughts? Anything that you'd like to say? Any events that are coming up that you
Yeah, I
want
got a
people-
couple big events. I mean, you know, this month I'll actually be in San Diego. I'm not going to be speaking, but I'll be out there with Marshall Silver and Coach Michael Burt. They're doing a full couple of days, and I'll be out there learning from one of the best. You know, Marshall Silver's whole message is really teaching people how to sell to the subconscious mind. And so he's considered to be one of the best hypnotists out there. And so I'm not saying that he puts you to sleep and then he slowly, you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, he knows how to sell to the subconscious mind. So I'm excited about that. And then in
cool.
April, we'll be out in Vegas at the War Room Mastermind. This is at the Encore Resort and Casino. You know, a big group, roughly 1,000 people, be speaking out there with a bunch of other great coaches and trainers. And then coming up a little bit later in the year is down in Corpus Christi with Coach Michael Burt, a couple other big speakers. I know Stan Medina is trying to get Tim Story down there as well. And that's going to be a great event. So we got a lot going on. This year is kind of the big breakout year for
Yes.
us. I got clients internationally now. We just got our first client up in Canada. Just got a guy down in Mexico City. And so we're sharing our message now with a global audience, which is really neat. You know, it might mean that I got to go get a Learjet like Coach Burt, like some of these other guys, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
But we're having a lot of fun doing it. And that's really what I
Absolutely.
love.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, Mr. Brad Blazer, the man on fire, Brad Blazer, 2020 is your year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it personally. Like, I see all the great things that you're doing. I can't thank you enough. I'm
A lot of
excited
it's
for
with
your
your
book.
help, my friend.
I'm excited for your book. I really am. The Thrive. Look out.
Put a thrive in your
Yeah,
hive.
that's what I thought. Yes, yes. So once it's out, we'll make sure we link it on everything.
You
Brad,
bet,
thanks again
buddy.
for everything. And guys, until next time.
Thank you.